Hey everyone, this is a very important video. I've had a lot of requests to redo this video, but not only, I've been studying on this for hours. That's why I've not done any other videos. I've been really trying to put a lot of effort into showing you what they're teaching you wrong about mid-trib and post-trib. So I need you to stay with me and understand that the Lord is putting this out for you guys. He's took me through. I've got other people on the phones. We've been going through it, and the Lord keeps leading us right back to the same things. But I'm going to tell you the difference. I'm going to show you why they're wrong too. Not just do that. What we've come together, I've put a list together so we make sure we get this right. Now, first of all, mid-trib, they want to show you basically in Matthew, okay? And in Matthew, basically, if you go in and read the whole chapter of Matthew, let's see, go into 24. Now, Matthew 24, this is where the mid-trib, this is their beliefs, okay? But I'm going to show you why they're wrong. And that this is not Jesus, okay? And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came in him and shewed the building of the temple. And Jesus said to them, See ye not all things? Verify I say unto you, that there shall be left here one stone upon another, and it shall be thrown down. And he sat upon the Mount Olives, and the disciples came up to him previously, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? Now remember, who's he talking to? The disciples. They're Jews. Okay? Stay with me. And a sign of things to come, the end of the world. And Jesus answered and said to them, Take heed that no man deceive you. Because what happens in the tribulation? The Antichrist. Okay, and he shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all the things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. Okay, now here's the thing. A lot of people that even talk about pre-trib bring up these verses. They're wrong. Because in Matthew, and I'm going to keep going through it for you, okay? But all Matthew is not the rapture. It's not mid, post, it's not none of them. He's talking to the Jews about the tribulation. He's specifically talking to the disciples. This is what they don't tell you. Because they don't, you got to rightfully divide the word. Who's he talking to? At this time, when Jesus is talking to the disciples, he does not know about the rapture for the church. It doesn't come after. It comes to Paul. He gets mysteries. He gets 7 mysteries. You have to go in and read Paul for yourself, and then they can't lie to you anymore. See, this is what they don't want you to know, because this is laziness. If you have to study, he says, you've got to study the Word and go find it for yourself. Quit letting people tell you this stuff and rightfully divide the Word. And it says, all these things are beginning of this is the beginning of sorrows. This is all tribulation. This is it during the 7 years. Then thou shalt deliver you up to be afflicted and shall kill you. Has that happened yet? No. And thou shalt hate it of all nations by their namesake. That's when all the nations will come against Israel. This is tribulation. This is all Matthew 24. This is the mid-trib people. This is where they get all their information, that you go through the mid-trib. It's a lie. He's talking to the disciples. He's talking to the Jews. They're the Jews. They go by the law. Because what happened? They did not accept him, which then he grafted the Gentiles in, the bride of the groom, the bridegroom. So when we come in, we're grafted in as the bridegroom. It's the time under grace. But Paul is the first one, and this is after Jesus has resurrected. He's up into heaven. This is why he's still on earth. When he's resurrected, God reveals to Jesus there's a mystery. And that mystery is that we will be taken out. And I'm going to show you the proof. And there's nothing they can do. I'm going to show you where they get their stuff and why God is trying to correct it. Because what they're teaching you is a lie, and it's not they're teaching you another Jesus that does not exist. It's their Jesus, and it's a lie. Stay with me, because I will not lead you wrong. I'm going to take you down, and I want you to go through Matthew 24. Find out for yourself that this right here is them telling you, hey, he's talking to the disciples about the tribulation. It's all there. And it can be confusing if you don't know how to rightfully divide. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Tribulation. And because inquiry shall abound, and the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. What does you getting it? You hearing it? In the tribulation, you have to survive to the end. See, it's all tribulation, people. It's all there. It's just you got to. If you just read through it, you're not going to get nothing from it. That's what these people do, and it's all hearsay. It's false doctrine. This is the devil twisting words to confuse you. I promise you. I'm going to take you down this road, and I'm going to lift this curse from these people that's been taught this horrible, evil stuff that they've flipped the word of God. And this video, I'm telling you, the Lord has put me on this mission to take you and free you from this. And whoever's seeing this video, God's brought you here to free you from this once and for all. And we're going to in this video. This is for you. You know who you are. God's going to send you here. And this is going to free you. So we're still in the mid-trib. We're in Matthew 24 where they get all their stuff. But he's talking to the disciples about the tribulation. Okay, and the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and shall to the end come. That's the 2 witnesses and the 144,000. And the 2 angels going around the world. When ye therefore see the abomination of the desolation, that is when the Antichrist will sit in the 3rd temple and call himself God. Spoken by Daniel the prophet. And it just goes back to Daniel because, see, the 70th week has not happened yet. Because what did he do? When Daniel was reading the prophecies, God told him to shut the book. And he shut the book right at the 1 week left. The 1 week is 7 years. That's not been finished. That's why he told Daniel to shut the book. They don't teach you that because they don't want you to know it. Because they're lying to you. Okay. And the gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world. When ye therefore shall be the abomination, let them which it be Judea flee into the mountains. Now this is the part when he tells the Jews in the tribulation, when you see him call himself God, flee to the mountains. Don't go out your door. Go to your rooftops and flee. Don't look back. Because he's warned them what's going to happen in the tribulation. This is the 70th week of Daniel. He even gave you a hint right there about what Daniel prophesied. He's basically talking to the Jews. He's not talking to us. I'm giving you the proof. It's in the Word. You can read it yourself. Okay. Get to the housetop, not look down. Don't take anything out of your house. Neither let him which in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them or the child that have a child, and to them who give suck in those days. Talking about pregnant ladies. It'd be horrible. But pray ye that your fight not be in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Once again, the Jews. For there shall be a great tribulation, such was not since the beginning of the world, and this time nor shall be. This is the great tribulation. That's what he's talking about. There's been nothing like it on earth. It's when meteors are falling out of the sky, stars are falling, everything. Except those days be shortened. If he didn't shorten the days, they wouldn't survive. Nobody would. There should be no flesh be saved, but the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And if any man say unto you, Here is Christ, or there, believe it not, because it's not him. For there shall arise false Christs, false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders. These are like demigods. They're going to be walking around again. And they'll have great powers. It won't just be the Antichrist. There'll be all kinds of stuff on it. That's what these people don't tell you. There's going to be horrible monsters that you've only read in books walking the earth that can do crazy things. If it was possible, thou shalt deceive you, the very elect. And see, God's also going to put a big delusion on everybody. He's going to make everybody believe this stuff. They're going to see it and they're going to believe it. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if thou shalt say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers. Believe it or not, don't believe it. For as the lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For whoever the caress is, the eagles will be gathered there. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from the heavens, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And thou shalt appear a sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and thou shalt all the tribes on the earth mourn, as they shall see the Son of Man cometh in the clouds. Stay with me. Now I want you to write this down right now. Coming in the clouds. If I'm going to give you a little pause here, let you write that down. Now this is the Son of Man coming in the clouds, with heaven and power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of the trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, and one another in heaven to the other. Now learn the parable of the fig tree, which his branch is yet tender, and putteth forth leaves. This is like the generation. Like he told me, 80 is the key. They're in the fig tree generation right now is 73. It would have to be a 7-year tribulation coming up any minute to fit the 80 that he showed me. That just shows you it's any time. Now learn a parable of the fig tree. Knoweth that the summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it's near, even at the doors. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but not my words will not pass away. But of that day, now this is another thing they take out of context. But in that day, an hour, and a man not know the angels in heaven, not only the Father. Now this is while Jesus was on earth talking to the disciples. At this time, he had not been into heaven. So he learned more. That's why he gave Paul the mystery. At this time, he is still on earth. And he's talking just to the Jews about the tribulation. It has nothing to do with us whatsoever. This is just the Jews and the ones that are Gentiles that are left. But the only way for them to be saved is to lose their head and not take the mark. You've got to survive and not take the mark. That's the only way they can get saved. That's it. Let's see. So these people would teach you got to be here. You got to lose your head. That's what they want you to do. They want you to have to sit and lose your head. You want to sit here and do that? Because if you don't, you got to take the mark. This is what they don't tell you. They don't tell you the whole truth. They lie to you. It's the devil, people. The devil uses God's people. I can't even say they're God's people to give you this stuff because they want to kill you. That's why. Okay, let's see. Talking about the earth passing away, angels in heaven, but only my Father. But in those days of Noah were, so also coming to the Son may be, as he told me years ago, were once again in the days of Noah. For in those days that were before the flood, they were eating, drinking, marrying, giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not. Knew not until the flood came, it took them all away, and there shall be coming the Son of Man be. Then shall 2 be in the field, and 1 be taken, and other left. Now, a lot of people think that this is talking about the rapture. It is not. This is talking about a flood that the Antichrist also spills out. But there's a lot of other things that happen here where there'll be people here, then they'll be dead, and then, it's talking about something completely other than the rapture. I didn't know it either. I had to go in and study this, but he's just talking to the tribulation people. Now, some will be raptured. There's going to be other raptures during this, but it's going to be the Jews that are, and saints that are created after we're gone, that believe on Christ, and you can't convince them there's no Jesus, because they're going to say either you give up Jesus and say that he's not real or something, and you can get water, food, but if you don't, we'll cut your head off. Well, when these people say cut my head because Jesus is God, he's King of kings, Lord of lords, that's when they become saints, and they're raptured right at that time, because they cut their heads off and they're raptured straight into heaven. That's how you get. Do you really want to go through that? Really? Because that's not for you. That's why he gave Paul a mystery. He takes the bride out. That's why. Because that's the only way you can survive. If you want to be here when the Antichrist is revealed, that's the only way you get into heaven. They torture you and they cut your head off. Do you think Jesus would do that to you? That you that are ready, that got yourself ready, that did your work, believed in Jesus? People, think about what they're saying. Think about it real hard, and you'll know the truth. It will set you free. Let's keep going. Let's keep showing this lie. Okay. And this is the mid-trib people. Matthew 24 on down. Let's see. Who then is faithful and a wise servant, whom the Lord have made ruler over his household, to give them meat in the due season? Blessed is the servant who is Lord, and it cometh shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that you shall make him a ruler over all his goods. But an evil servant shall say in his heart, that my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, to eat and drink with the drunken. The Lord of the servant shall come in the day when you looketh not for him, and the hour is not, you're not aware of. And I'm going to tell you why you do not know the hour. And that's why he keeps talking. You don't know the hour of the day. No, he keeps preaching that to the Jews here at this time. So we've now went through that Matthew 24, the mid-trib people, that's their lie. That's not talking to you. He's talking to the disciples. Okay. Why does he keep talking about you won't know the hour or the day? Everybody uses this line. Well, you don't know the Lord's coming. That's not even what he's talking about. Another lie. Another people heard that from their preacher, heard that from this person. It's a lie. What he's saying is when the church is raptured, the earth will be hit by a comet called Wormwood, and it's going to knock it off its axis. The days will be different. You won't have a calendar like we have today. Also, the days will be shortened. That's why he said the days will be shortened, because if not, nobody would be able to survive. You won't know Monday from Friday. They'll have no clue what day it is. None. Zero. That's all gone. That's what he's talking about. You'll have to know, the Jews will have to have these signs to know when he's coming in the second coming, where he comes down on what? Mount Olives. In the rapture, he comes as a thief in the night. He doesn't step foot down here. Doesn't do it. The first time he comes, doesn't step foot down here. They don't tell you that because they lie to you. They lie to you because they're not of God. They are not of God. That's why the Lord has me doing this, to set you free from these lies that these people tell you. And they're going to still argue you up and down. That's when I want you to go, you know what? You're a liar. And you're not of God. And you're going to burn in hell if you don't quit what you're doing and repent. Because they're lying to you. Clearly, Matthew 24, he's talking to the Jews. You got to rightfully divide the truth. Who is Jesus talking to? Now, this is the whole time Jesus is still on earth. Okay, so we've already disqualified the mid-trib. We're not here. We don't know who the Antichrist is. That's done. Okay, what else can I disprove today? And that's God's word. If they say it's not, they're lying, they're twisting it. Taking 2 or 3 little lines instead of the whole script. That's why I went on the whole thing, because that's how they lie to you. These people do not read the Word of God. And if they do, they purposely twist it because they're not of God. Okay, look up 2 Timothy 2:15. This is where he tells you, study to shew thyself approved unto God, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightfully dividing the word of truth. What does that mean? It means what I just told you. Who are you talking to? He's talking to the disciples about the great tribulation, the tribulation and the great tribulation. That's what he's talking about. That just disqualified a lot of the post and the mid-trib, showing that what they're preaching is lying. And they don't know the Word of God. I don't care if they went to Bible school, whatever. They're wrong. It says it in the Word. That's why he had to take me through it. I've got to do this because these other people have lied to people so much, I've got to fix it. Okay, now we're going to go to the post-trib people. Now this is their argument, which when I get done with this, you'll never believe their crap ever again, because it's not the Word of God. That's the devil. I mean, he don't want you... This gets me so aggravated, and this stuff ain't hard. It's just not hard. Okay, let me get in here. Okay. Where am I going now? Because I've got all this stuff. I've worked on it all day, trying to get all this stuff. Because we've talked about the mid-trib. They get all theirs from Matthew 24, which we've just we basically got rid of that, because that's not the truth. All right, the next one is John. This is the post-trib people. This is where they get their little miracle of nonsense. Okay, let's see, where am I at? We're going to turn to John chapter 6. This is where they get their little nugget at, that they twist. And they take 1 or 2 verses out of all this John. But I'm going to teach you what they don't teach you. The lie. I'm going to prove to you the lie. Let's see, where is it? I think it's... Give me time here. Okay, here we are. Let's go to John 6, and you can go from 35 to 40, but this is where they get their nuggets. Let's see. For the Father hath given me shall come to me, and him have cometh to me, I will no wise cast out. For I come down from the heaven, not to do my own will, but he will of him, the will of him that sent me. And the Father in which have sent me, that all which have given me, I should lose nothing, but should rise up again at the last day. Okay, this is where they get their nugget. Okay, now this is their whole thing of what they're teaching about post-trib. Believe it or not, it's all right here. Okay, and this is the Father's will which hath sent me, that all which have given me, I should lose nothing, but should raise it up again in the last day. And this it will, the will of him that sent me, that one which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up in the last day. Now, that's their argument, but here is that proves them wrong. See, they don't read on down who he's talking to and all this stuff and what's happening. They don't fill you in on that. They just use that one little line, and then they tangle it, and they've got you all believing there is no rapture. And I'm telling you, the more I get in here, I know that they're just conniving. Because, I mean, I see what they're doing. Okay. Now, if you go in to chapter 11. Let's see, where am I at in chapter 11? This is right after what he's talking about. See, the thing is, the Jews believe in the resurrection. And they don't tell you that. So they believe in the last days there's going to be a resurrection. That's what they don't tell you. And now I've just got to find that one thing again. I should have had this stuff marked, but I'm telling you, I've been on this all day. See, then Martha said, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him. But Mary sat still in the house. Then Martha said unto Jesus, Lord, if thou hadn't been here, my brother had not been dead. But I know, even know, whoever thou wilt ask of God, God will give it thee. Jesus said unto her, your brother shall rise again. Martha said unto him, I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day. See, that's who he's talking to. He's talking to Martha and the Jews. Again, the Jews in the tribulation. She's knowing that in the last days, there's going to be a great resurrection of the Jews. She knows that. They all believe that. They don't teach you to go on through there and figure out what the conversation is. So guess what? Post-trib. Lie. So there's that. Now, they're trying to say in mid-trib and post-trib. The mid-trib tries to tell you it's Matthew 24, which is before Paul was received a mystery from God, which was about the rapture and the Gentile church, the time of grace. Can't happen here. That disqualifies mid-trib. They're gone. Lie. Post-trib is trying to do the same thing. They're trying to take this and put it back at Matthew, which we know can't happen because the rapture is talked about in Paul. See, these people try to back it up to Matthew too. Doesn't work. Because he's talking to the Jews and the tribulation, which is called the 70th week. See, these people who are preaching this, a lot of them think that God's done with the Jews. He's not. It does not say that in there. He grafted us in. But these people don't like the Jews. And they think that the church is the only one going. It's not the truth. It's a lie. I just proved it to you. Told you where to go, where to find it. If you don't go find it yourself now, that's your own laziness. The Lord's showing you where to go and how to prove it. And here is the proof of all things. Like I said, in the second coming, Jesus comes with the saints, all of us here, and he steps forth on Mount Olives. Okay, that's what they don't teach you. But you got to go. Get all my stuff here. I've went into this. I have just been doing this all day. Okay, Paul's mystery is the first thing. So we've just eliminated mid and post-trib because they all try to back their stuff up to Matthew. Doesn't happen. He's talking to the Jews about the tribulation. So I proved them wrong. They're done. Now, what does Paul learn? And if you got to go back to Thessalonians, let's see. You can also go to 5:9. Now, our gospel is Paul's gospel. We're the Gentiles. We are not the Jews. And I don't know how anybody can get that wrong unless they're just ignorant and they don't go in and read it, or they're just twisting it for the Satan's sake. Okay, Thessalonians 5:9. For God has not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Jesus Christ. Thessalonians 1:10. And to wait for his Son from heaven, whom has raised from the dead, even Jesus, who delivered us from the wrath to come. What does that mean? Could the post-trib and mid-trib be lying to you? Because they know that's there. Thessalonians 2:19. For what is our hope or joy or crown of rejoicing, or not even ye for the presence of the Lord Jesus Christ in his coming? Thessalonians 4:13. But I would love to not have you ignorant, and boy, are we ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep. Yet they sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For if you believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so them on which sleep in Jesus will bring with him. That's everybody that's died. And I will get this right, people. I screwed it up the other day. This is the people that are asleep in heaven. They're not asleep. Their bodies are asleep here. Their spirit is in heaven, reading books, having a good old time in heaven. Okay, so you don't worry about them. They're in heaven. If you see, even though in which sleep in Jesus he'll bring with them. He brings them down here. The dead rise first. Poof, up out of the graves. And they get their glorified body. And don't worry about the ones that are cremated. He knows where all the DNA and all that stuff. He's God, people. Give him some credit. Christians belittle him like he's nothing. Oh, drives me nuts. Okay. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Lord shall descend from the heavens with a shout. Did he say he stepped forth on earth? No, he did not. With the voice of an archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead of Christ shall rise first. That's what I just spoke of. Then, and which are alive, stay with me. This is what they don't want you to know. And which are alive. I lost my place. I get too into this. Oh, it's moving it for me. And they shall rise first, and which are alive will remain shall be caught up. Now, if you look up the other version of it, it's Ponzo or something like that, Ponzo, which is another word for rapture. Could they be lying to you? Because if not, Paul's lying, and that means God's lying to Paul. So you're taking a man's word when God's word and Paul's gospel, who's lying? So is it God, Paul? That. Well, me met up in the air, and thou shalt be with the Lord. No head cutting, no tribulation. Out of here. Wherefore, comfort one another with these words. It's a shame that the Lord had to take somebody like me to go get all this to bring to you, because these people taught you lies. Wake up, people. These people are lying. It's right there. It's God's word. Wherefore, comfort one another with these words, that you don't have to go through the tribulation. You're going to be raptured. The rapture's real. Jesus just proved it to you, took me through it, took you through it. Read it for yourself. Quit being lied to. If you don't see me again, I'll see you in heaven.